today's story is a lesson, and I'm going to be doing much more of this sort of stuff on the channel moving forward. It's been difficult recently. You've got a young family and all of these other commitments that have been sort of going on. Haven't had too much time to develop myself and haven't had too much time to showcase students that I've been working with. But I will, and that's a feature that I really want to be doing towards the end of this year before we kind of get into the winter months, and then going in towards next year. That's something that I would love to show. I would love to showcase a little bit of development of myself, a little bit of a development of Lynn, who's my low handicap golfer or progressively low handicap golfer. I've still got Martin, my mid handicap golfer, and I'm looking. So if you guys are relatively local and you're interested in coming to visit and be a part of this, I'm looking for a very high handicap / beginner golfer to be working with as well. Now, Lynn recently came to visit for a lesson, and she's actually gone on to do some really good stuff. Now, I haven't seen too much of Lynn over the sort of summer months because obviously, again, like I say, it's been very busy with the family side of things here. So I hadn't seen her in a few months, but was keen to sort of catch up and get her sort of part of the story and, you know, similar sort of problems that I was tending to see. So I wanted to really concentrate on impact. That's what I've been preaching to you guys. Didn't want to make any backswing changes to Lynn. I wanted to concentrate solely on just doing some impact drills. And it's gone obviously particularly well. I'm going to show you the lesson in a moment. We're going to go through it and do an analysis at the end exactly how you guys can do the same thing. But the lesson has gone so well that Lynn left the lesson the following 48 hours later and played in a tournament over in France, and she went on to win that. Her handicap has been cut. She's also played a couple of tournaments at a local club as well, and has gone on to do really well in those, and has now, like I say, gone from a sort of I think 12 handicap and progressing down towards those sort of single figures. So it's been great progress and something that I'm really pleased to share, and like I say, something I want to do more of next year. Let's just kind of have a little look at some of the outlooks of the lesson first and foremost, and then we'll do a summary at the end. Critique, technique, yeah. Mm-hmm. So if we look at the bottom video, so this is our sort of guide to swing plane, so we'll probably be through the elbow line, something like so. Yeah. If we go into this post-impact position, we can kind of see the way the club is above that line, yeah? Yeah. So we want to try and keep the club as on plane as we possibly can. Yeah. Which basically means, as you know, if we sort of look at this, we've got this sort of issue here. Yeah. And then from the face-on perspective, because your swing direction, which is swing plane, if you like, is too much above plane, or the turn would be too much to the right, okay, which I'll sort of demonstrate, then the only way you can really square the face is to sort of get a little flicky and scoopy on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at the moment, to be fair, the shots that you're sort of doing, if we can just swap places just for one moment, they're okay, aren't they? Yeah. You know, they're sort of, you're kind of moving a little this way and then having to sort of time that scoopy move. But as we know, it's not quite what you're potentially capable of. So I think the idea is this. Yes. Yeah. So if we're sort of swinging towards the target, what we want to do really in the golf swing is get this sort of feeling of hitting down on the ball, like so. And the way you're going to do that is you've got to try and move this pelvis more downward. So feel like it's moving more down to the ground, and then we can kind of play around with those sort of feelings. And then I think it will feel a little bit more like I mean, obviously you've got to try and keep your head still, although when you shift the weight, the head will move. But I think as you try and rotate your chest through the ball, I think that the big thing is well, we will see, obviously you'll communicate. I think it might feel quite downward. Right. In terms of this position here, because that's what we're trying to aim for at impact. But in reality, because we're in a posture, so if I sort of rotate downward, actually the rotation around the spine, the shoulder goes back. Yes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we don't want to try and force anything this way. We want to try and feel like we're kind of more this way. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Have a couple of practice swings first. Okay. Okay, so go into like a backswing position slowly. Perfect. And then come down slowly. Okay, and how does that feel to you?
Yeah, it feels a little bit contrived, but it does feel doable.
Okay.
And I can see it's quite square there with this going back and that coming forward at the same time.
So yeah, do you want to elaborate? So on that going back things, obviously this is something you've kind of said that you've sort of been playing around and discovering, which I like.
Yeah.
But we've got to do it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Is obviously the sort of feeling of the tailbone.
The tailbone drawing a circle that way.
Yeah. So I would
And
probably
ending
put
up
more
that
emphasis on it coming
even more.
back.
Coming back around like
Yeah.
that.
So if we sort of divided you into symmetry, if you kind of just demonstrate a backswing position for a moment. So what I'm saying is, if you demonstrate the coccyx sort of, or the tailbone coming back position, come straight back.
Straight back that way?
No, straight back to the right of the club.
Where's straight?
Perfect.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I mean, if you watch me.
Oh, okay. So not so, right.
So go
okay.
straight back
without
first.
going left. There.
Yes.
Right.
Now, that would be classed as spinny, which
Okay.
basically means the right hip's
Yes.
coming forward.
Yeah.
But as you're getting the feeling of that moving backwards,
Yes.
you need to move your weight to the left.
To the left, yes.
And I think this
yes.
is what you've sort
yes.
of been
I've
discovering.
worked that out, yes.
Yeah.
So,
But that's got to come. So the upper body and the weight shift is perfect.
yeah.
But the lower body, yeah. So if I sort of, you get set up again, as you are, I'm going to place this pretty much over your left ankle line, okay? Just
Right.
so you,
So I don't go
so you
forward.
know. And the feeling is that you're not going to, this is going to move exactly back and behind
Yeah.
as your upper body goes forward.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But my head stays behind.
That's perfect where you are.
Right.
And again. Perfect. And then just go, keep going through, Just coming, good, stay here. So what you're trying to do is get the feeling that you want to try and keep the club as low to the ground as possible.
Yeah.
Because that keeps you over the ball, doesn't it?
Right.
And that's the objective, really.
Yes.
We want to get rid of that flick,
Yeah.
that sort of scoop. So the only way you can get rid of the scoop is getting the hands exactly further forward. Just show me that again. Slowly come down. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Lynn has since been sending me other videos that she's been working on at home, and she's been really exaggerating the impact movements. She's been really emphasizing this sort of rotational movement of the body and this sort of exasperated forward shaft lean with the hands. And ultimately, I think that's what every golfer needs to be spending their time working on. I would suggest, as you've seen from the channel over the years, you know, getting this sort of rotation whilst also maintaining good angles and getting these hands forward is absolutely key. And like I say, I'm hopefully going to just showcase more and more of Lynn's development. The feeling really is, and especially when you're doing the drills, are going to be different from when you're playing. And this is the one thing that I'm experimenting with at the moment with quite a few students, particularly my online students as well. Kind of not so much sort of just telling them exactly where to be. I'm getting them to really spend their time practicing, probably getting some funny looks in the range, but really exasperating these feelings just to see how much more we can take that progression onto the golf course. And the feedback has been really good. The feedback has been really good with online students. Lots of students that are progressing, lots of students that are actually starting to see more of an instant theme from the range to the course. And it's something I've been doing. And like I said earlier, this is something I want to start documenting more. I just need to get that little bit more time to play to give it the justification to updating you guys. But again, all I was trying to work on with Lynn is the premise of the hands always outrace the club head. And I know it's not a reality, it's a feeling. And she wants to pull the lead hip back. Okay. And that would be one thing that I just kind of encourage for you guys to understand as a really important tip. When we finish this way in the golf swing, I think a lot of golfers think, oh, you've just got to get over towards that left-hand side and just finish like so. I don't think that's the case. I would go more along the premise that it's the lead side that comes back. So my lead, hip and shoulder go back. And as they continue to go back, then that propels my right side forward. And I would kind of think about throwing a ball in that sort of manner. You sort of throw a punch. You know, you don't really kind of throw a ball and move that sort of direction. You actually move backwards and the continued rotation pulls you through. It's the same if you were throwing a punch. You kind of don't move towards your target. You actually sort of move away from your target. Now, I know in the transition, the start of the downswing, you'd bump and then you'd come back. But that's my point. And that's what I was working on with Lynn. And that's, again, you know, I class all of you people that want to watch the videos and implement it, a student to a degree. Even those of you that I've never actually met or seen any swings, but that's what you want to do. And that's what I've been working with my students, is get as much shaft lean as a feeling, get the feeling of really pulling the lead side back. And like I say, spending your time practicing this, and then when you go and play, you're just trying to incorporate the same sort of sense of feeling. And like I say, we'll document more of it. but the results have been pretty good, and that's why I'd suggest that you guys should be doing the same thing. I'll see you soon.